family. Here we are. As you can tell, things have changed, huh? I brought some friends with me. Just saying. Hey, first and foremost, let me give a very big shout out to my friend Danny Smith from Surgical Tray. As you can see, he did me justice. Got me some new drip for the studio, as you're gonna see changes coming in the new year. But again, if you have some requests and stuff, definitely reach out to Danny. Marvelous, excellent job that he did with these, and I look forward to more things to come with that. Uh, KAS, IMP, CoMed, all of the friends of the show, Dr. Jason O'Geese, everybody that's made this possible. As we close out this year, again, this is our thank you to everything that you've done for us to make this possible. And again, I can't go without saying, again, time to talk, what they didn't tell me. If you don't have your copy, get your copy and let's talk about it. I appreciate all the feedback I've gotten so far, and the words of wisdom and the inspiration that you said that it's given you. I appreciate all of that, and it just motivates me to talk about what's next in that realm of the authoring and what we're going to do there. I'm already underway with some stuff that'll be coming soon that I'll be able to talk to you a little bit more about in the near future. Here we are. It's the end of 2023. Man, right? What a year. We've seen the changes with new standards and, the things coming out of Amy. We've seen the industry leaning and creeping toward AI. We've seen so many different things that we can only expect like greater things in the future, right? So that's what this is more about for this particular show. I want to just recap some of our guests and, some of the things they brought to the table so we can reflect back and say, did I miss that? Is that something I need to look into for a new year? And basically give yourself a reset. As I, thought about some of the things that have happened and, who could come on here and talk about these, I thought about some of the stuff that happened to some of our brothers and sisters down in Florida and how they had to go through a universal reset after the hurricanes and, the things that happened over there. We didn't experience what they experienced. We could only see and send prayers, but they're back in the fight. They never gave up, lost hope about what they were doing. They were still passionate about what they were doing under those dire circumstances. If we were in that same situation, how would we have felt? What would we have done? So yes, it's time to reset. It's time to find your inner passion for this business and get back to giving back, get back to understanding, getting back to knowing your why. That's what I wanted to do with this show. I wanted to talk about, from Karen Cherry that y'all saw on here, Pioneer First, all the way down to the pods. Remember, we did a show about the pods, and we talked about ease and just making things more efficient. And were you listening? Did you see what we saw? I wanted you to see through the lens of people who have experienced it, people who have asked questions, and just come back and bring all that together so we can say, this is the end of the year. We have made it. Now going into 2024, what can I do differently? How can I improve? Remember that old saying, it's not how you start, it's all about where you finish, right? So since we finished and we've got to the point of this is a new year about to usher in, what can we do? We're going to get there. But how do we get there? We're going to recap. We're going to talk about things. We're going to have some fun because at the end, I got a very special announcement about next week that I think you might want to be tuned in for. But right now, I want to bring the energy. I want to bring somebody who needs no introduction, but I'm going to bring her in anyway. I want to bring in none other than my friend, y'all friend, Arlene Bush. Well, she
End
was
of the
there.
year.
Well, she was there.
Here I am now.
Arlene, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show. Happy end of the year. We made it.
Yes, we made it. It's another year in the books. And boy, was there some changes that kind of, made people have to step back and be like, hey, before we get there, just in case it's a new viewer to the platform and somebody who doesn't know who Arlene is, for the upteenth time, who is Arlene Bush?
My name's Arlene Bush. I have been in the sterile processing field for about 25-ish years. I currently work at the VA, and I sit on a lot of boards for AME. I also was a past board member for HSPA, but I have been on the show with you, I think, probably double-digit times now.
Yes.
For what, the fourth season?
Yes. Fourth season is about to come to a close and bigger things are coming. And, I'm always appreciative when you come because you always bring a new perspective and you bring that VA to us and we're like, hey, wait. And then you'd be like, no, that's how it goes. And, we just have to respect it. But Arlene, oh my gosh, I started off this season. It was more about vendors and what they brought to the table and how we were supposed to make that vendor partnership. In your own words, what does that mean to you, that vendor partnership?
Well, we really lean on our vendors, right? When we're looking for quotes for equipment or things, let's say accessories we want to add to equipment. Will it work in our space? So we really lean on our vendors to kind of guide us into the right direction when we're looking for capital purchases. So it's really cohesive to have that relationship, right? And you want to have a good working relationship with somebody you're probably going to be working with for at least a year, maybe two, if you're talking capital purchase equipment. But you've had some pretty big vendors in the industry on the show this year, right?
I have, and we're going to talk about a few of them. And that's where I was leading to, because you have those relationships and you're trying to build those relationships. And sometimes it doesn't always mesh.
This is true.
Dare I say. It's not necessarily the company all the time. Sometimes it is the vendor himself or herself, and it's the personalities, and they're used to having it a certain way. And then when you say, hey, no, that's not how we do things here, sometimes that can go over well or sometimes not so well. How do you maintain that positivity and that cohesiveness when you're working with your vendors?
One I always have to remember, it is, I've been known for saying this a lot, is stay humble. You may not have a seat at the table, but you have value in decision making.
Yes.
So try to make a seat at the table. Be like, look, did we look at everything? We got to measure twice, cut once, because it's going to cost us on the other end. So it goes back to this vendor, right, has probably done this a dozen more times than you. So he knows about the little things that didn't get thought of. Like if you're buying from a German company and you're a U.S. Healthcare system, does it come with a German plug? Does it come with a U.S. plug? Does it come with a plug at all? Because that's happened to me where I've purchased equipment and got there and was like, four wires sticking out. That wasn't in the spec sheet.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that part.
Right. Yeah. That was now it's a disconnect and no longer a plug in the wall. Yikes.
Somebody's yelling Arlene. So look at that. Say they know who the superstar is in the building. I like it. One of the vendors I brought on, and it's something that we talked about before, is I brought on is KAS. It was knowledge plus action equals success. And what he had was an educational platform that, helped and I want to say motivated people to get ready to take their tests. Education wise, using a platform like that to, help somebody with those study habits that they may not have, on their own. How do you maintain that balance of getting your people prepared for testing, studying when they still say, "Hey, I have to work, I still got to study," and how do you balance those two things with your staff?
So I have staff that are always getting ready to do their next certification, if you will. So, we all work full time. We all have families outside of here, but you really got to dedicate some hours to kind of putting in your due diligence, right? But I've used a lot of different digital platforms for
Yeah.
certifications, both through vendors or other platforms that we developed at healthcare systems for like EMS to use or other SPS staff to use to get other certifications. So I've used both box set, study groups, and digital platforms. They've all been, shown success.
I think
So
the thing that stood out with him is that he actually teaches it as in a live class format,
mhm,
and that gave them somebody to ask those questions to from a, I won't say teacher to student perspective, but somebody moderating and leading the discussion, and it doesn't go off the rails. So I think that was where when I found it, when he came and we met and we talked, and I actually have used them, I thought that my people were more receptive to somebody teaching versus us trying to study. Like, so
I
it,
totally get it. I am the
yeah,
same way. I want the discussion. Well, maybe I looked at it differently. Maybe you saw it one way and I saw it a different way. How do we know who's right? But I did enjoy his platform as well.
yeah, so that was like, one of the educational pieces that came on. And, I looked at it from, we have no universal education thing. Everybody does it their own separate way, different ways, and it's successful for everybody. But we have people trying to make a universal platform. So it was something that I thought would be interesting to people because, like I said, he actually schedules classes on your time and he's teaching you. So I'm like, hey, hey, let's see what it says. And it was very receptive. I've had people reach out to get his information. So kudos, Mr. Holiday. Appreciate you. Um, here we go. It says, I love debating, even if I'm wrong. It gets my brain moving and working, helps me retain information.
You're in the right industry.
Yeah, we get that a lot. Like,
We do.
we can debate on every single aspect of SPD because everybody sees something differently. But I like the part where to say, even if I know I'm wrong, I'm still gonna debate it just because. So I like that part.
I love a challenge. Make me go in the office and look it up.
Didn't think of it that way. There you go. Like, you
Right?
got to
Make me
make
go
sure
in the
you're
office
right.
and look
So
it up.
if somebody's arguing their point to the fact that they know they're wrong, so yeah, you make me second guess, and I have to go and do some. Hey, let me go look this up because I might
Now
be
you're
saying
testing
something
me.
wrong. That
I
is
like to be
funny.
tested sometimes too, but like there's a time and a place for that. But I'm all for like bring the question to the table, stop the line, let's talk about it. If there's some, confusion as to what the process is, let's talk about it as a team. What does the policy say? What
There
does
you
the
go.
IFU say?
But it's
And
the
is it best
IFU.
practice, a recommendation, or a standard?
See, you trying to bring up stuff now. We're talking recommendations, standards, and we're gonna get into the little Amy stuff. People get a little, they have to be quiet when you hear Amy dropped around the Amy word. But again, another thing that we talked about and the new water document that came out shook up a whole
Right?
lot of stuff. Shook up a whole lot of stuff if you haven't had a process in place or got that committee together to go over what should be being done. It's more than just filling your sink, and I think now people realize that. So
Right. And we didn't have to track it like the department level, right? Oh, facilities does that or engineering does that. Now we have to track it as a department back to the facility. So that's new with the 108. And two, I'm confident everybody in our industry has experienced a boiled water notice.
yes, yes,
Well,
yes.
108 now talks about what you have to do as a facility for a boiled water notice.
And I think that did you have to do any changes to your process once the document came out? Because I think that was one of the major questions was, well, we don't have the bandwidth to do all of that right now, or facilities that's third parties checks that kind of stuff, and you have no documentation on it. So did you have to implement or change anything about your processes once the document came out?
I didn't. We already had a backup plan because we've had experienced disasters locally. So we already had a backup water plan to feed the facility outside of a city feed.
And I think that's the thing, right? Having a plan,
Yeah,
knowing who's a part of that team, and that's when you start to work together to, hey, and I think that's the other thing. When these documents come out, we're not saying run out and you got to change everything immediately.
right.
And I know people freak out when they say, hey, this new standard came out. You're like, oh my God, they got to give us money, you got to get budgets and blah, blah, blah. But you do have time. It's just now, how do you execute that plan? And as you say, you just said that a boiled water notice. Some people are like, what does that mean?
Exactly. Because we didn't do anything before, but now we're required to. So
right.
Some people didn't think about that when that document came out or when 91 came out, right? 91 came out talking about we needed vented storage cabinets. And now it's people are starting to be.
How are we going to accomplish that and things like that? So yeah, it was definitely not a lot of discussion and people panicking. And I think that was where it was at.
But people were starting to get excited and they're going to start looking for it in 2024.
Hey, you speak of the man and he shows up, Arlene. Look at this. Lamont, he himself says, hey, information sharing based on experience is a great teacher.
Amen. I need the facilitator too. Like I said, I need the discussion in class. I'm that one that will keep a meeting going for 45 minutes because I want to debate it.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, Mr. Holiday, make sure Arlene has you do her people so you can debate with her on all of these topics. I would love to be the fly in the room when these questions are asked. That would be hilarious.
PPE is my greatest presentation. Why you should wear it.
Oh my goodness. Oh, we're gonna talk about PPE. You really want to go there?
I just recently talked about it, about how your safety shouldn't be more important to me than it is to you.
Nice. Okay. We're going to touch on that subject later because you're going to get people started. Another person I had on came on just to show us that there's different people in different spaces. Right now, when people think of sinks or people think, somebody say I'm from the future. I can't.
Do you see me some lottery numbers?
Right. If you see everything, tell us what the winning Powerball is. I'm with it. When you think of sinks and you think of workstations, a lot of people automatically think stairs. Cold Med came on. I've had talks with Pure Processing. I've bought Pure Processing, and I've bought stairs, and I've bought Cold Med.
And PBJ.
Show us that there was different spaces and different vendors out there. Not saying one is better than the other. I'm not here to promote anybody in particular. What I'm saying is you have options. And very good presentation. He talked about the ergonomic sinks. He talked about, supplies. I was taken aback by it because he had a magazine for the OR. So you have the OR stuff, you had the store processing stuff, and you had all of these different, supplies that you could get from somebody other than the big name. And then you're like, so what do I do? But again, when it comes to your equipment, you're the person that gets to use it. You're the person that has to make that decision. But he just came to let us know that there were options out there. Have you purchased more than one different vendor of a certain type thing? And how was it received?
I have. So I've done departments from the ground up where we started with one vendor and the product wasn't available when we needed it in the timeline. So we had to go to another vendor. So again, different spec sheets, different power requirements, different space requirements. It was a tight space. We were trying to fit a cart washer in and it was really weird. And you had to go uphill and turn, and cart washers are pass-throughs. There's no right angles. So yeah, I've had a lot of different interesting things where one minute we're going one way and the next minute we're going a different way. Where when you find out there's a pillar in the middle of your department that can't move because it's weight bearing.
Yeah, that's a pivot. That's a pivot. That's a pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So healthcare definitely shows you that resilience, right?
right. And that just happened to us. We are opening uh, another critical access hospital, and we needed sinks. So I had put an order in. It couldn't get here by a certain time, so I had to call in. I had to call a friend. Hey, can you come in? So
Yeah.
knowing that you have those options, knowing that, like you said, in the crisis mode, you have to do what you have to do, and knowing that you have different vendors for the same products actually works in your favor because, like you said, they may not have the sink, they may not have the workstation. Hey, you may need it shorter. Hey, I need it taller, whatever. Now you can pivot in which direction you need to get to make sure that happens. And again, Coleman had a very good presentation. He talked about some really good products. And like I said, the thing that stood out to me is that they're covering all the bases. When I looked in the magazine that he gave me, I was like, you really do have everything in here. Like, like from
Right.
PPE to sinks all the way to work tables, or beds. I was like, what is happening right now? There's certain things you don't know because you just don't ask. And that's what I like right there.
Right. We're just kind of stuck in our service or our department. And then when you see the capabilities of some of the vendors, you're like, wow, I didn't even know you covered that or your company produced that.
Oh, you got a question here for you. So, what are some shifts we've seen in 2023 that will carry to the future?
Hmm. Positive are patience.
Okay.
Gotta have patience in 2023.
We gotta have patience. Gotta have patience.
But I got a lot of blessings in 2023 too. You know,
So,
I got more staff, I got new equipment.
do you see that
Um,
as everybody was dealing with the short staff and shortages, and as people slowly started relaxing from COVID and all these kind of things, and you started hiring people? Do you see that as a continuous trend of, like, you're being staffing going up? We see an upward tick in staffing going forward, or how does that look for you?
I do see an upward tick in staffing, like more FTEs just kind of in a region. The demand is higher. Our surgeries, I feel like, are getting their volume is getting higher.
Okay.
So the requirement for FTEs is higher. And two, we're kind of in my area, a lot of people didn't make it through the hurricane, so they left the area. So we've had a lot of turnover
Okay.
from that.
And with that, okay, something else that happened, we got introduced to RST. We got introduced to Steam Vision. I'll come back to that, but let me tell you what this says. It says there's a fine line between finding a product that works versus a vendor you like. Oh,
This is true. I might have a personal preference, but that's not who my company goes with.
right. So yeah, you can have your personal favorites, but what's best for your department, what's best for your people. Yeah, there is a fine line because you do have your people that you interact with all the time, and you see them at the conferences, and you're very interactive with them. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only vendor you're going to use.
Right. And I've worked for really large healthcare. So I've been a product of my contracting department where I thought I was getting one thing. And then the next minute I was getting something totally different because it was delivered to the loading dock and this wasn't what I was expecting.
Right.
So
Uh, so yeah, so right before that, we were introduced to Steam Vision, which is AI. We were introduced to RST, that's been around, that has a form of AI. Is this a trend that you see progressing toward the future of SBD? Do you see? I know what everybody brought the pictures back from, the big conference, and you saw the robots and you saw this, but you saw no people involved in that. There was robots rapping and there was all this kind of stuff. It was madness. Future tense, SBD, how does AI play a role?
I already feel like AI is there. We already have robotics are in the OR suites. We already have more technology in the sterile processing field than we've ever had. Instrument tracking systems, scanning capabilities. I mean, some companies even have bracelets you can wear to power your tracking system. We really are moving into a technology era,
Yes.
a really large boost in it. More data doesn't always have to be bad data, but how are we going to utilize it to work for us? You know, we're going to have robots. That's
and saying that, does that mean that the human interaction dwindles, or is there a happy space where we have the AI and we have human interaction?
There is. Somebody has to put a work order when the robot goes down.
You know what? Think of that part. Somebody has to put a work order.
Somebody has to put a work order in.
Oh my goodness!
You probably got to be certified to fix that type of thing too, because that's outside of my scope.
And now we're gonna have to have a new certification for fixing of the AI. So yeah, let's work on that. HSBA, you're listening. Certification for fixing AI in the future. We got it. We're gonna work on that. We got that. You know, you got some subject matter experts right here. We can work this out.
We're gonna form an SME group and get it going.
But in saying that, how does that play to, I won't say the older, I don't want to say older. I don't want people to feel like, and I'm saying it in a bad way, but you have those people that have been in the department for 30, 40 years. How would that play off to them when you bringing in this technology and that's not something they're used to? I want you to hold that up. We're going to bring it right back. I'm going to go to commercial. And when we come back, we're going to talk about it. AI, SPD, long-term people, change of culture. Let's talk about it right after this commercial.
Scrub Ball is all about celebrating healthcare. If you're in the healthcare field, no matter where you work, we celebrate you.
As you just saw, do you have your ticket? I have my ticket. I will be there. Scrub Ball. Let's celebrate our healthcare heroes. Let's talk about it. If you wear scrubs, that is the place to be. Will you be there? Let's do it. Then shout out to, you see my drip. You see my drip there. You see. I got cups and stuff. You know, I got mugs. I got shirts. Again, big shout out to Bright Star Apparel for, you know, making some of this stuff possible. Definitely reach out if you need something for your departments. You saw the UCDI in there. You saw language mastery. Are you at that? Do you want to be better in meetings? Do you want to be able to speak so that the C-suite is listening? Let's reach out to UCDI as well. Make sure you get that information. Right before the commercial, we talked about it. We were talking about AI. We were talking about how it's going to come into sterile processing, and it's some of what, as you say, is already here. For people that have been in departments 30, 40 years or 20 plus years, and you've seen how that goes, how do you think AI will affect those people, your good workers, your people that know your processes, your people that you can rely on, but they're not that technology. They don't want that technology savvy type. They're not that. How does that play into your department?
I bet you they got a smartphone. I bet you they got an iPhone, a Samsung. You know, they probably got a Kindle, an iPad, a video doorbell.
I actually have some people who don't. I actually have some that still got a flip phone.
what I wouldn't do for a flip phone. But anyway,
Oh my goodness.
so I do have people that are like, well, I don't check my email every day.
Right.
So to get them to check their email, I would send out emails like the first person to respond to this email is getting a $10 Subway card. But it worked. They started
Okay.
checking their emails.
Okay. So to get people caught up to that kind of technology, you may have to, just be a little creative, basically.
Yeah, we did. And I mean, we didn't do it forever, but we did it for like 6 months to just kind of raise awareness. We set the expectation, the staff, we rounded back. Is it working? It is working. Okay. Now we're going to send some test emails. You need to reply to this with this, and this.
And I mean, I get it that the technology is supposed to make our jobs look more efficient, right?
Sure.
And one of the people that I brought on was from hold on. It says, "Let the humans do what they do best, and robots do what they do best. Future efficiency." There we go. Everybody's on the same page. We got to find that happy medium because I get it. I don't think that human interaction is going to go away.
I don't either.
We just have to figure out, like now from the pictures that I saw, there was no humans with that. That was a straight robot picking up the tray, putting it up there, wrapping it, and putting it up. I was like, oh, that's
and that
neat.
Robot's been out for a little while. I mean, it's been out a couple of years.
I think they just keep trying to improve on how it works, but it's something like that makes people nervous. Because like I said, when you see the pictures from what we saw, there was no humans involved in that whole picking up the tray, placing it over there, wrapping it, and then putting it on the rack. It was like, oh, if y'all doing all that, then what? Where is our fit in that whole equation?
Well, think about that artificial intelligence there, right? Think about how much cleaner that area is because there aren't humans in it. But again, somebody's got to be able to fix it, right?
Right.
Keep it working.
So if the goal is efficiency, the goal is productivity. Somebody else we had on, we talked to H&M Medical, and he had disposables.
Right.
Of all types. Like, so as you said earlier, you got to know the companies and this, that, and the third. And he introduced us to a higher level grade of a disposable, even to the fact that they had disposable flexible reamers, and I had never seen that one. They had, all your suctions and, speculums and everything else under the sun. I get that we do our numbers based on what we touch and, trays produced and all of this stuff. But if we go to disposables and we can make it more efficient, is that something that you think you would lean on as far as disposable? If you had a bunch of stuff that could go to disposables, but it would take away some of the work from your people, what would you do in that situation?
It depends on what type of setting I'm in. If I'm in a clinic setting, definitely would go to disposables because it's less documentation, it's less tracking. Might be a little cost on the front side, but it would pay for itself on the back side. But if I was in an inpatient setting, depending on what it is, like if it's a suction, I would probably go to disposable. The risk is too high.
Yeah, because not everybody has a borescope. I know that, sure. That is our preferred, to use a borescope on all your cannulated items, but I know some people that still don't have one.
Right. A lot of people don't, right? And that's kind of been a best practice for a long time. Yeah. I had this conversation today with a couple of people.
So when you hear people saying things like that, that's too expensive, or we can't afford that type of thing, or, you don't have a borescope, you're saying this is too expensive. Where's the combination of us working together? Where's the collaboratives here? Like, where do we put that foot to draw the line in the sand?
Right. Because if I don't get this for like visual inspection, I'm going to end up getting something dirty or an outbreak or something. So it's really, I need to get this so I don't get a finding.
And I know everybody's seen it. I had Dave on here, and he brought the pictures, and you saw what happens when they cut those suctions in half. As much as we're brushing and scrubbing, these are real suctions that got cut in half, and they were absolutely disgusting. It's like, so you're like, so are we really truly doing best practice? We're not having a borescope or, those type of things, or not even considering disposables. And you being an Amy member, that there's stuff coming out about transportation of stuff. That's right around the corner, and
Temp and humidity.
it's going to change the game again when you're talking about now how you have to transport things. There are facilities that don't have dedicated transport vehicles.
Yeah.
So how does the disposables play into that? If you can't even transport your normal stuff correctly, wouldn't it make sense to go disposable on the things you can? That's what I'm saying.
Right. Think about distance in between locations or times or environmental issues like heat in the environment. I live in a hot climate, so July is totally different than December here for humidities.
And they're supposed to be able to track the temperature, humidity in the vehicles, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the new standard. They want like courier systems to be temp and humidity tracked, like the car. They want to be able to be like a cloud-based type of thing where you can get reports from it and do like monthly reporting. But that's really a game changer.
Yeah, that's going to change a lot of people who don't have that type of stuff in place now, but are transporting things back and forth. So yeah, that's going to be some more information on that to come.
Definitely. About biohazard transfer, right? We're making disease that they haven't named yet.
And you're also talking, you got to have a clean vehicle and a dirty vehicle, separate vehicles.
Well, you would have to have a defined separation.
Okay, so it doesn't necessarily.
How are you going to have a separate airflow on one side and a separate airflow on the other side of a vehicle?
Yeah, that might be a little different. So, I mean, but those are the type of things, future tense, that we see as game changers. We see as changing the industry for the better. Another person that came on was our good friends over at Turbot Pods. And you were in the chat. You were talking.
I had a bunch of questions for him because I was interested in it. I haven't used that pod per se, but I've used pods before. But I was super interested, because there was a lot of things. I asked, do they fit in stairs mobile trailers? Well, there's a lot of stairs mobile trailers out there.
Yes.
Or people are thinking about going to a mobile trailer. Might need a pod to do that.
Yeah, and after your conversation, like definitely talking to him some more, they had pods of all sizes. Like they had for ambulatory centers, they had for the mobile trailer, they had for your 600, for your AMSCO, this, that, everything. And it was refreshing because people were interested. Like I said, your questions started more questions, and people, can you transport this? Can you do this? And I can tell you just from experience, we love the pod. Yeah. It works. I mean, everything about it is more convenient. Like we're talking about the ease and efficiency. When you can put 12 trays anywhere without having to box and filter every one of them, it's always a game changer. Everybody's question was the same though. But what happens if one tray fails? Same thing what happened if a tray fails and you got a whole back table set up. You got to tear it down and start over. So it's the
same principle.
Same concept. So do
you always have a primary and a backup then?
Right. So, and then like I said, that's up to the facilities, but I know we have 2 in ours and then 1 in my ambulatory. So I have a couple of pods, and like I said, they have definitely definitely gave more efficiency back to me on that aspect. For everybody out there,
you felt like they were more of a value than a hindrance.
Right. So
okay.
For anybody out there listening, what are your thoughts on some of the stuff we talked about? We've talked about education so far. We've talked about AI and sterile processing. We're talking about turbot pods, disposables. So we would love to hear from you, just to say, what are your thoughts on some of these topics, and how do it affect us going forward? That's what we're trying to get to, is like everybody that came on had something of value. How are we going to use that information going into 2024? How are you going to better your departments in 2024? Somebody here says more certification. So again, that's what I'm saying. And more certifications, but more certifications in what? So I love that thought, because
which platform, right?
Yeah, more people talk about the certifications and all types of certifications. I know, like I said, off air, we were talking about there's an infection control certification for sterile processing you can get. I know
Joint
Arlene.
Commission has one. CMS has one.
So there's definitely certifications that can be had. If you don't have it, look into the Lean Six Sigma. That's definitely one that you can get into, and there's different levels to it. I know when people hear black belt, it sounds a little intimidating because you know what you have to do to get it, but it's gonna help you benefit your departments. So that's more. Angie, thank you for that comment. More certifications. Denard said more seasoned staff. That's what we need going into the new year. How do we get there? How do we get that seasoned staff? How are we training them? How are we recruiting them? How are we keeping and retaining the staff that we have? You want the more seasoned staff, but that starts with us training them. That starts with us getting them to that level. How are we seeing that, Denard? How are we getting them there? These are the questions that for 2024, if you're going to be breaking in these new departments or starting a reset on your stuff, how are we getting there? It got quiet. You see the eyes popped up. We're looking. I like it. In that, I had a big event this past November, Synergy Through Understanding. I had all of them come on the show to talk and tell us about what they experienced or what we were going to be experiencing during my Synergy event. And I can tell you that it was off the charts. We had sterile processing represented, we had the OR represented, infection control represented. We even had a doctor come and speak and tell us his experience. And of course, my good friend Angie hit us with the English as a second language. So we had every spectrum covered, and everybody talked about how we all work together for the same outcome. It was a great event. I was pretty impressed with the turnout. I was pretty impressed with the stuff, the material, and how people received it. So that was a good one. How are you now in your area keeping your seat at the table or making your seat at the table? Because this is what it's about. When you're building that synergy, is how you becoming more involved in the whole process.
And it's hard to juggle that, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Some people make it look really easy, and some people not so much, but it's a labor of love for all of us, or we wouldn't get up every day and do it.
Right.
But yeah, it's hard to juggle kind of doing volunteer things and hobbies or something you feel strongly about and making that all level out with everything else on your plate, right?
And that's where, how do you keep that level head in those situations? Because again, we always talk about balance, right? We want the work-life balance, but you're trying to progress over here. So wouldn't this take a little bit more from that balance? Because you're trying to put a little bit more irons in the fire over here.
Yeah.
Again, one of the things I travel and talk about is that burnout. You don't want to get to those stages. So burning the fire at both ends without having balance causes that burnout. And that's where you're no good to nobody when you get to that stage. But yet the quiet quitting, all of those things start happening before you can, find a happy medium. And that's where I said, what are we taking into 2024? Same old habits? Are we trying to lessen some of the load? Are we, just keep trucking on until you can't do it no more? What is the thought process for 2024? Where are you at for 2024?
2024 is going to be a little bit different. We're coming out, kicking and screaming in 2024. So I'm hoping it's going to be a full year. Lots planned for 2024, professionally and personally.
Okay.
Some of the stuff I'll let out and some I won't. The first one for 2024, though, is HSPA conference in Vegas. Will be the event of the season, won't it?
It will be, from what I can hear so far.
And just other avenues, collaborating with other leaders, both within my current employer and outside, doing chapter education days, getting back to that in 2024 because I was, busy with the board of directors for HSPA. So getting back to the chapter and kind of getting back out there and seeing my members and just kind of reconnecting with people in 2024, getting back to the basics.
I can say this now because it's been voted on. I was granted my initial chapter, vote. So what you have before you now is the Massachusetts Sterile Processing Association chapter. You're gonna be seeing that.
Congratulations!
Yeah, they voted this past month, and so at the chapter as it stood is no longer, and we are coming out now new Massachusetts Sterile Processing Association. That's just how it. Yeah, we're excited about that. Just restarting a reset.
Good things to come. Sounds like.
Yes, good things to come. And just to go back to our AI conversation, Denard said that machines don't call out. So he has a point. He does have a point.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, well, they'll call out when they're not working, like no power, no oil, no something.
So in that aspect, so do we have to give a machine PTO? I'm just asking.
PMs.
Sharon said humans will be more oversight and fill in during updating and etc. So employees will have to engage and embrace AI machine learning. And that makes a lot of sense. Like if we have to do PMs and stuff, as you just said, somebody still has to do the work. So yeah, that is a thing. And I'm glad she put that comment up there because one of my guests this season was none other than Sharon Combs herself. And we had a very insightful conversation about reset and changing your perspective on you. Mm-hmm. And her program Reset, I went through it. It was one of the greatest moments I've ever been through. It's hard because, hey, 5 a.m. is rough if you're not used to that and talking to people and engaging at that time of morning. It can definitely be, a little challenging, but it challenges you to be better. Mm-hmm. So again, the UCDI platform itself, teaching you how to be a better speaker or, challenging you to reset your life. From that aspect, what is one thing Arlene is going to focus on for 2024 as a reset for Arlene?
Honestly, I have been thinking about going back to school. So I think 2024, I'm thinking about doing epidemiology.
Okay.
So I've been thinking about it for about 3 or 4 years. Not that I want to leave the sterile processing industry. It's always been an interest for me.
Okay.
For public health, and we just again went through that pandemic. So I think that might be my next step.
As you can see, look, family, it's never too late to do something that you feel is going to benefit you. As you heard her say, it's not about leaving the field, it's still about her own betterment of her. These are things that some of these guests and some of the topics and some of that was for you. UCDI, again, programs like that help you become a better speaker, that help you reset yourself, all the way down to like the AI conversations that we had. These are things that we have to think about, things that may come, or we don't say may come. We know they're coming.
Speak it into life.
Right. How will we embrace it when it happens? Sharon said, way to go, Arlene. Again, anything that you're doing to promote and be better for yourself, that is a good thing. Also, a question for you is, are you seeing more leadership opportunities for new faces?
I am, as well as I've tried to promote within, get more certifications, make yourself more marketable.
Right.
You might meet your next boss somewhere else. Not that I want to lose you, but I still want to grow you.
Right.
We want to foster good behavior, promote good behavior, but somebody, you can trust and that's going to do the right thing even when nobody's looking. Because it goes back to integrity, right?
Right. And that's what we do, right? As leaders, you try to promote those people or give them the knowledge and tools to be ready when the time comes. And right. What you're doing for your people, like you said, you're trying to promote from within. Me, I have a planned succession plan. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm teaching you everything you need to know because if it happens and I move on, you got to be ready. The show is not
Exactly.
going to stop because I'm not there, and that's
Aren't
what I
we always training our replacement?
always. And that's one of the things that when I say it, people are like, no, that's not what's happening right now. But I'm like, the reality is you're getting ready for the next level. One of the things that
Right.
came about with the education programs is I actually currently have a department full of dual certified people. I have a bunch of triple crowns and I have a couple of gold crowns, but everybody in the department has at least 2 certifications. So
Nice.
getting them ready to see those steps and move up the ladder that way. Like you planning for this, you're getting everybody there because what would your department be if everybody was a gold crown?
Right. We've set the bar high now.
Right. So if everybody's a gold crown, anybody can step in because they've all had that leadership piece, right? So
Mhm.
Arlene's not there today. Do we expect the department to run differently? It should be next man up mentality and next woman up. Sorry,
And
but
there should always be somebody covering you.
right.
You should always be able to pass the baton to somebody, and that they could be a critical thinker and still make the same decisions you would make, even in your absence. Because again, we're training our replacement.
So
So
so they talked about new faces. How can we get these new faces in some of these work groups we're in? Because us old faces will be moving on to do greater things at some point. How can we
exactly.
get some of these new faces in some of these groups that we're in?
Do you want a number of how many people have signed up this year?
Oh, I got a couple too. So I took your lead on that. Oh, look,
Okay,
somebody here
okay.
is like, hey, I have CRCST, CIS, CER, CHL, GTS, AGTS. So more certifications, more certifications. We talking certifications, and I have to ask, what is the GTS and the AGTS? Just for my own, I just want to know what they are. If you can tell me what those two are.
I don't know what GTS is either.
So, but yeah, so that's one of the educational things that came out of what we did. Just messing with the education, getting people more certifications, as people said, getting people more involved. And we have said on every platform we've been on, Amy needs your participation. We
Yes.
need end users at the Amy with us making some of these decisions. So again, get involved, get yourself involved. Managers, directors, get your people involved. If you can get them involved, get them involved. Arlene gave me that tidbit of information way back when, and hey, you start signing people up to be involved, and then slowly the numbers grow in our favor because it's the end users, right? Everybody
Yep.
talks about the industry people that are in the room and how we don't have great numbers in the room, and that's what we're trying to change, getting people in the room.
Right.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was called that.
I like
Okay.
advanced GI techs.
GI tech specialist and advanced GI tech specialist. Okay, I like that one. I like that one. So is that in addition to the CER, or who offers that certification? It said
We
SPD has
do.
led me to endoscopy as well. Yeah, I have the endoscopy department falls under me too, so I understand.
I was the scope cleaning lady for a really, really long time.
Yeah, so we understand that part. And okay, they got the SGNA one. Okay, I've heard people talk about taking their certification, so that's what it's called. Okay, I like that. One more guest. I saved the best for last on this one. I got to talk to and spend time with one of my favorite people, Miss Karen Cherry, lady of many firsts. As y'all heard when we were talking, documentaries, Congress, well, everywhere, like just political,
Yeah.
just over, just a great individual, mentor, friend. But her message was she wouldn't let somebody telling her no stop her. That first no was enough to lead her to all the greatness that we are at now. So
she's done and had some really amazing accomplishments, right?
yes.
But what astonished me is about her is that she makes it look easy. Like it's not work for her. Like it just comes natural. She just flows, and the way she carries herself, it's really refreshing. And I had asked her a question on the show and it didn't get answered. But what touched me so much was she actually messaged me after the show to answer my question personally. That really hit me in the heart with Karen Cherry. And I mean, she's been just really amazing to me over the years. And I couldn't thank her more for that. But it really, made me feel a little special.
I see. That's what she does. That's what she does. I like it.
Right?
If you don't know who she is, check out Chicken Poop the Soup. Check out Persevering Through the Pain. Definitely check out the documentary on Tubi. And 2024, again, right? We're talking about what's ushering in a new era in 2024. She has a podcast that'll be airing for, persevering through the pain and talking to, women who've overcome a lot of difficult odds and things. And definitely tune in and let's show her the love that she deserves, because again, she's mentored so many, she's taught so many, gave a lot to the industry. And as you heard, she was the first and only Black manager of that facility for obvious reasons. But again, check out her story, be inspired, and definitely just reach out to her if you have any questions. Like Arlene said, she's very personable and she definitely answers questions when you reach out to her. Arlene, so we've talked about this year's past. We've talked about the future of SBD. We've touched on a whole bunch of different things. So coming into 2024, what can we expect from Arlene? And then I got a big announcement about where Time to Talk is going to do in 2024.
I'm hoping to kind of get back into the HSBA scene.
Okay.
We'll see what comes of that.
Okay.
I looked at the foundation. I'm trying to get into some more SME groups because I was away from SME groups for a while, but I really enjoyed doing it. But just keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah, I mean, the board is doing amazing things. I know that the foundation is doing some amazing things, and the SME groups. People talk about, what they would do if they were in that room. You don't know how hard it is to write a question.
But you have to.
Yeah, when you have to write one, you don't know how hard it is to sit in there and come up with something that, again, challenge you, but doesn't, you got to have those references. So it does have to go back to the book. And I keep saying that to people because people be like, where do they get these questions from? It's all referenced out of the book. It's all referenced out of the book. So for the SME group, I salute you. I do miss y'all too. And, after my term on the board, who knows, I might be back over there with y'all, but definitely looking forward to some bigger and better things coming up. Got a couple of big announcements that y'all are here in 2024, but the biggest one so far is next week. What I have for y'all is this. I am going to be doing a sterile processing universal trivia contest. What does that mean? So when you log in next week or you come to our platform next week, you're going to be invited to scan a QR code, join our trivia game. The game will hold up to 100 people. There's 50 questions. It's based on time, accuracy. So the faster you answer, the more points you get, and so on and so forth. I have some sponsors, so I'm gonna shout them out for this. So IMP, COMED, and KAS all came together, and what we're gonna do is the top 3 places in this trivia contest of just basically knowing your sterile processing. We've got questions from CRCST all the way to CHL. Once you log in and I get the group established, if it's 100, if it's 100, if it's 50, it's 50. However, first prize will be $700. Second prize, $500, and third prize is $200. We're going to definitely give away that money to a deserving 3 people who can prove to us they know their SBD. These aren't hard questions, but they are thought-provoking SBD questions. So next week, you have it, the first Time to Talk trivia night. All of SBD is invited. The first 100 people gets to partake in the trivia night. So let's try to figure it out, and you can win from anywhere in the world. Next Thursday at 8:00 Eastern Standard Time, we go live with our first ever Time to Talk SBD Trivia Night. Again, thank you to my sponsors that stepped up and said, hey, let's do something fun. Let's do something different, and let's get people involved. And don't feel bad. As I was going through the thing, I didn't know every one of the questions. So it's not about, who comes in last and all of that. It's seeing where you're at. It's having fun. It's a game show. It's a game night. It is what we do. So again,
it's a game changer.
I see what you did there. So 2024, we're going to usher it in style and give away some money for the new year. That is what we're going to do. I appreciate everybody who's been here so far for the ride. Season 4 was fantastic. And now we're going to go into this new year and give away some money. I'm excited about it. I'm curious to see how this goes because, accuracy and speed kills. So
we need like a stats board after this.
Well, it does. So as you answer questions, it puts the leaderboard shows up immediately. So you know who's in first. If the person's going up or going down, you see the leaders going up and down after every question. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be definitely interactive. So
how many screenshots there's going to be of this leaderboard?
Hey, all I need is the top 3. So you got bragging rights for everything else. That's all you have. But family,
it's almost a challenge.
See, there you go. I can't participate because I'll be a host, but the challenge has been thrown out there. Arlene said, here we go. Let's do it. She's got her phone ready to get her QR code. Can anybody beat Arlene at this game? Let us find out next week. Family, Arlene, I thank you. Sharon said, I will go easy on no one. I am coming for victory. That's what I'm talking about. The gauntlet has been laid down already.
Look, 700's conference registration. Just saying.
I'm just saying, hey, you can win and get your registration and stuff paid for. So there you go. 700 to first place, 500 to second place, 200 to third place. Guaranteed prizes for the winner. In the case of a tie, I guess we'll have to come up with something, but we'll see how that works. We'll see. Maybe if it's high, we'll do what we have to do, but. Right now, top 3 winners, guaranteed money for the new year, right here next week. Arlene, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Family, it's been time to talk. Again, this year's been amazing. Looking forward to what we're going to do in 2024. And it starts with you. What do you have planned to change for you? What do you have planned to reset in your life? How do you create that balance? What are you going into 2024 with? I have nothing but, good thoughts about what's going to happen. I know that Arlene just said she's, hey, that's a big one.
Epidemiology.
Yeah, she's going back there possibly, not leaving the field, but wanting to do something better for yourself. Where do you see yourself in 2024? What do you see you changing in 2024?
Everything's possible in 2024. Let's just say that. That's going to be our 2024 motto. Everything's possible.
Everything's possible in 2024. I like it. I appreciate you all. Thank you all. Enjoy your holidays. Be safe. And hopefully next week I see you logged in, ready to win some money, and let us do it. Arlene, thank you. Make sure get your finger ready. Get your finger ready to start practicing pushing the button because Sharon
next week it's going down next week on Time to Talk.
Sharon already said it's no prisoners. It's all out. So
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be interesting. What a great concept, right? I can't wait to be in the comments too.
I know, right? So if you see you moving up the board, you start throwing comments out there. I'm like, Arlene's talking trash, y'all. Somebody got to get her. Somebody got to get her. Family, thank you. I appreciate you. See you next week. New year, new show, new things. Let's do it. Thank you.
you.